Welcome back, Dolphins. They still have one last pick. It'll probably happen by the time I'm done with this video, but we're going to do the recap of this draft, and I like this draft a lot. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they did a great job with this draft. I think they finally didn't reach on really anybody. I mean, you could say it's a reach with Jonah, but at that point in time, in the second round, you're getting the only starting caliber guard in that round. Any of the other ones were not really going to do it. So we'll go over basically each one of them. Obviously, first round pick, Kenneth Grant. I think his base level is going to be a starting defensive tackle, starting nose tackle. He's going to eat up space. So why I think this was the perfect pick for the Miami Dolphins is because the base and the pure necessity of what he needs to do is just eat up space. And Zach Sealer is going to eat if he does that. And that's basically going to be his role for the first couple years, probably the first year, unless he develops super quickly. But for the base level of him, he's going to eat up space. He's going to take up two defenders, kind of a Vince Wilfork style, and move people out of the way for our pass rushers to eat. And that's something that we definitely needed. The thing with him, though, and why I think this was such a good pick, is because of what his athletic prowess is. He's not just a big dude. What a lot of people are saying with Kenneth Grant is he is basically one of the top percentile of athletes for his size, like the amount of agility and quickness that he goes with. You're going to hear the draft still going because I want to see who they're going to pick. But Kenneth Grant's athleticism for that big of a dude was topping charts. So that's why he's such a cool pick to have, because the base, he's going to eat up defenders. That's what he's going to do. But he definitely flashes the ability to improve on pass rush and become a real dynamic defensive tackle in this league. So I love the pick. I think he's definitely the exact player that we needed in this draft. Coaching around him and you get his pass rushing ability up, his hands right, and all of that, I think he can be a awesome player. And one of the best things about him is something kind of Christian Wilkins-esque. He's very good at batting down passes. He actually has a knack for jumping up and batting the pass down. So, dude, he's great. He was the perfect fit. And like I said, he is one of those guys that his base is a pretty decent nose tackle to take up space, and the ceiling for him is a elite defensive tackle that can get after the quarterback and take up two defenders while he does it. I would say, honestly, ceiling level would be like a Vince Wilfork. Like, he could definitely be that type of dude that gets after the quarterback and eats up two defenders every single time he's on the field. Go to the second round, Jonah Savaiinaea, I think that's his actual he's 340 pounds. He's 6'4", 340 or 330. He's humongous. The guy is huge. You're getting a Hawaiian dude to protect another Hawaiian dude. I know I'm probably not, it's maybe Polynesian or something like that, but honestly, man, you're getting a guy that's going to really be able to be a starter. And like I said, another one where it was a smart pick. I know some people might not like that we traded away, but with this draft, 1 through 70 was top heavy. The rest of them, it could be either a boom or bust situation. So what they ended up doing is they traded their third, and what they also did later in the draft, which we'll talk about it, is they ended up getting an extra third next year for a trade that they did. So Savaiinaea he ran a 4.9 at the 40, so he's very athletic for 320 pounds. He's a pass blocker. That's his key trait. He's very good at being a pass blocker. The run blocking is kind of the issue. It's not that he's horrible, it's just he's not as good. He stands a little bit too straight up, which is something that, I'd rather have someone that is a pass blocker that struggles at the run than someone that's a run blocker that struggles at pass. It's basically what Liam Eichenberger was when he was coming out of, yikes, I think it was Notre Dame. He was a good run blocking guy that was okay when it came to pass blocking. This dude is a great pass blocker that needs some help in the run game, but that is something that definitely can be fixed. That's a completely different thing because he's 330. He's 330 pounds. If you teach him how to use his legs right and use his lower body to push people back, he's going to be a phenomenal player. And like I said, this is one of those where, people are comping him to a Luminor, which is a great comp. I think he's one of those, if you remember the Raiders guy, Isaac Siamalu, I think he can be like that, where, again, another dude, base is a starting right guard, but can also transform into like a Zach Martin or something like that, if you have the right coaching. I think it's a phenomenal pick, and I think the thing is that trading these picks, you got a player that could start. That's what you needed. Coming into this draft, we understand that we needed at least two starters coming out of this draft. That was the key point here. And the first and second round picks, you got starters. That's 100%. You got two starters, and it's both the trenches, both sides of the trenches. So Jonas Savaiinea, he's definitely a very good pick, man. He's a very fundamentally sound dude, and I love the pick. I love trading up for him because if you look at the round, it was like Ariante Ursary, which is like a transition to guard type dude. There was really no guards available, that were really starting caliber guards. Like Ursary is probably going to be a backup. Savaiinea is definitely the dude that was needed to be picked there, and he was the guy that we needed to pick. So both of those are great. And then we basically traded away our fourth to get a third next year, and I think a fifth this year. And we got Jordan Phillips. And Jordan Phillips is going to be a depth piece. I think he is a very good run blocking guy. He's going to be a big body. He's going to be, kind of someone that, again, he's not going to be a pass rusher. He's really not that type of dude, but 6'2", 310, he's going to be basically the guy that pushes the pocket back, and he has a lot of strength to him. That's the thing. He's got a lot of potential when it comes to Jordan Phillips. He's a type of dude, again, that is very explosive for what he gets. But, again, you're getting a depth piece right now. He wrestled in high school, so he's got the base to be a good defensive tackle. But, again, you're getting a dude in the 5th round that has starting potential. I like the pick. And you're getting depth at the defensive line. That's what we were kind of going for here. You're getting depth, and you're getting an extra pick next year. We're probably going to get another pick from trading Jalen Ramsey, and you're solidifying this defensive line. After these 3 picks, you're solidifying. You got another depth piece. We'll see what Kamara does this coming year. But definitely power rusher, Jordan Phillips from Maryland. Very, very low center of ground. And like I said, base, big body, run stopper. That's what we wanted. We needed to get more of those guys because we did not have very good run stoppers last year. You get a big bodied run stopper, and he's the type of dude that with his bull rush that he does, with the strength that he has, he could definitely turn into something a little bit more in his ceiling. But the base is just a guy that can eat up space, which is essentially what you needed with Zach Sealer, because he's going to get another contract. And Zach Sealer is an incredible pass rushing, I would say, either he plays kind of like edge, but D-tackle edge, interior lineman. You just need somebody to eat up space so that Zach Sealer can get past. Because if you have, and you got to consider this with the type of players that we've drafted, we've got these 2 big boys that come in, especially with Kenneth Grant. If you have a couple players eating up blocks, one of the pass rushers is going to get there. Chubb, Phillips, Chop, one of these guys is going to get there. And what you're going to do as well is you can stop the run much better, because that was the biggest problem. We could not stop the run most of the year, so it was hard for us to eat at times because people knew they could run all over us. The next pick with Jason Marshall, I think, is a phenomenal pick as well. He is a press cover corner, 6 foot, 194. He's bigger. He is a high potential pick. I wouldn't expect him to be, he could, honestly, depending on what we do with free agency. I still think that Cam Smith is going to be on the field this year. I don't think you can draft Cam Smith with a second round pick and him not even touch the field after 2 years. So I think Cam Smith is going to play this year. I think Kader Kohu is kind of the example that Jason Marshall is trying to chase. He is very good in man coverage. It's just, the thing is that he's not consistent a lot of the time. He's not consistent as a cornerback. And his arms are a little bit shorter when it comes to pressing. But the one thing that Chris Grier tends to do, and like I've said in my last videos, is that he tends to find gems at cornerback in the later part of the draft. Jason Marshall is one of those, kind of fell down, but if you look at Jason Marshall and you looked at his highlights and you look at how he played this year, a very shadowy type of dude, plays very good man coverage, press coverage very well, and he's kind of a playmaker. So there could be a possibility for him to take the field this year competing against Cam Smith. And like I said, Chris Grier tends to do well drafting later round cornerbacks. Jason Marshall is a very solid player. You got Dante Trader. It's going to be a depth piece, undersized box safety, depth piece. Maybe he's, going to be in a couple blitz packages, but for the most part, he's going to be a depth piece, special teams type of guy. That's what I really see him as. I don't think he has the size or the intangibles to really touch the field. But again, you're getting a depth piece just in case, with Elijah Campbell and who we have on in case, what's his name, Luafau or the Jets guy, I forgot his name. Now, this is the pick that I want to talk about. Because if you watch my videos and you watch what I was trying to get at with this, I think this is the steal of the draft for the Miami Dolphins. And what's very funny is a lot of the time the players that I typically find later on in these drafts, they typically aren't picked up by Miami Dolphins. And it was like, I think I picked like Russell Wilson to be something, Chuba Hubbard to be something. Actually, Waddle was one of them that I thought was going to be something. They were players that I typically pick that end up turning into things later on. Ollie Gordon the second, 6'1", 226. He has the mold of a premier NFL running back. And when you look at Ollie Gordon, this year he had 800 yards rushing. Get it. And, a DUI and all that. When you look back 2 years ago, this dude led the college football running backs in yards with almost 1,800 yards for Oklahoma State. He was phenomenal. He's big. He breaks tackles, he hurdles, he's fast, he's a good check down target. He is very good with his first burst, and he's a dude that has pretty decent vision, and he can definitely pass block if you develop that. The thing is this dude, I think, is going to be the steal of the draft when it comes to players that have high potential. Ollie Gordon's going to see the field this year. There's no doubt about it. He's going to see the field. He's got great vision, for a running back. The problem is that he had that DUI thing, and he just kind of didn't do the same this year. I think running back wise, because they don't key them as much as wide receiver, it's like a Luther Burden situation. Team kind of sucked. His team was trash this year. Oklahoma State, I think it was. Yeah. Oklahoma State was kind of garbage. They didn't really have anybody. So the offensive line didn't really play that well. Teams kind of schemed up against him, and it changed things. But, again, like I said, 6'1", a lot of people are listening to him at 6'2". This dude, I'm telling you right now, is going to be the steal of the draft. You are going to see Ollie Gordon on the field this year. When you look at this dude play, I can't show it here, but I pray that you watch the dude's highlights. It's phenomenal. This dude is a premier running back, and I'm telling you, just like Chuba, because Chuba was taken in the later rounds, and now he's a phenomenal running back in the NFL. This dude is similar, but with more power. Chuba was much more when you were. I think they also went to Oklahoma State together, or not together, but they both did. When you watch Chuba, again, very similar situation. Chuba had this year where he was the best running back in the entire college football. He had just this incredible burst and everything. Then the next year he kind of slumped down a little bit. People slept on him. He got picked up way later, and now you look at him, and this year basically was carrying the Panthers through every single game, to the point where I don't think that I think it's the first or second round pick that they got. I don't even think he's going to touch the field too much. He's going to split the backfield with Chuba because he's just playing as a premier running back level. Ollie Gordon's going to do the same. Ollie Gordon, this first year, he'll get some packages. Devon Achane and Jalen Wright will do it. And I still think Jalen Wright's going to have a shot. But I think as you see the season progress, you need someone to be the back that gets you in goal line and can push the pocket forward. You're looking to him. He's going to do that. And again, he's the type of dude that when he sees a seam in the offensive line, he's going to shoot right through it. And good luck trying to tackle this dude. Like I said, almost 230, bro. Dude's humongous. He's fast. I think he ran like a 4.5 or a 4.4, probably a 4.5. He's phenomenal. He is someone that definitely, he can be the steal of the draft. I love that pick. And then you got Quinn Ewers. It is what it is. You're getting probably the most potential out of all of them. But in my personal opinion, I know he played through injuries and stuff, but I just think mentally he just seems kind of like a soft quarterback. He just doesn't seem like mentally tough. He does, you can kind of look at somebody and see if they have the dog, and he always just looks like he's got a panic face on. Like he just never looks like he can take over a game. I don't think he'll be a starter. I think he's going to be like another Skylar Thompson attempt, but I just don't see much with him. He still got one pick left. But I just, it is going to, we'll talk about it obviously later on in another video. I don't think I really need to go in that pick. The best available is really not much. I would personally like Isaiah Bond, maybe, with the last one, or Logan Brown. But we'll see what they do. You still got Joshua Gray, you got Jake Majors, Kobe Bryant's still out there. I like him. It's funny is Xavier Restrepo. That 4.8 killed him. It kills anybody. You're on a 4.8 as a wide receiver. You're not going anywhere. But yeah, you got some players. You got Zay Alexander. There's some good players that still get to get picked. But, like I said, I think they did a phenomenal in this draft. I think Jason Marshall has a chance to see the field. I think Ollie Gordon is going to be the steal of this draft. I think he's going to turn into a premier running back. And our first two picks are going to do exactly what they need to do. I think they definitely stepped up. I think they got at least 3 starters out of this draft, which is perfect. When it comes to corner, they're probably going to sign Rasul Douglas or Asante Samuel. And we're going to see what Cam Smith can do this year. But I think they did great. And I think what we're doing is we're getting this team younger. And they're stacking picks, which, unless it completely folds, which I'm going to be real with all you guys that are saying like 4 and 12 or whatever. With Tua, we've never with Tua been less than 500 besides this year. Like it's typically Tua gets us to at least 8 and 9, 9 and 8. So it's not going to happen. They're going to have, a decent year. They'll most likely, if Tua doesn't get injured, will make the playoffs. So they're stacking up picks for next year in order to get this team young and do it the same way the Lions did and the Rams did and all of those players. Drafting players, signing them back, and keeping young talent on the roster and just supplementing little players instead of spending all their money on these guys trying to build young. I think they did phenomenal. That's my personal opinion. I think they just changed the way that we're going to look at this season because I think most of the holes are pretty much plugged up. I think people are going to worry about corner. They're going to get a corner in free agency. Safety, we have depth now. We have plenty of safeties. Defensive line and the front seven, I think, is going to be. People are underestimating how good our front seven is going to be now with Kenneth Grant. I think the pass rush that we're going to have this year, especially keeping the coach that we have, I think it's going to be crazy. I don't even think we really need crazy corners anymore. I think the pass rush that we're going to have this year with all of the guys that we have is going to be nuts against people. Again, we see what Kamara can do. Probably going to sign another edge rusher. this front seven looks phenomenal. And, again, getting Jonah Savea, you now have Patrick Paul, who looked pretty decent in his debut last year. He's going to improve on that. James Daniels, who is, when he's not injured, which was a freak accident, he's a premier guard in this league. Aaron Brewer was phenomenal. Now you got Jonah, who's going to be very good. I think he's going to be a reliable starter. And Austin Jackson is going to come back. And Austin Jackson was playing very well. If you want to question Austin Jackson, when he went down, the offensive line fell apart. So that just shows you how much he does for this team. So again, and like I said, Tyreek Hill's going to be here for another year. We didn't draft any receivers, so definitely Tyreek Hill's going to be here. But I think what's going to happen this year, depending on what Tyreek Hill wants to do or not, is, with Westbrook, Akine, and Waddle, and Malik Washington, I definitely think since they're going to trade Tyreek Hill, the ball is going to go to Waddle a lot more this year, which I'm very excited to see. I think definitely they're going to tell him this year, Tyreek Hill, we're going to keep him because we can't really get rid of him right now. But the ball's going to go to you, Waddle. The ball's going to go to you. You're going to become the number one guy. And that's the way that it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tyreek Hill will still make plays if he wants to. We'll see what happens. He might not give a crap this year. But the ball's going to go to Waddle. It's definitely going to do that. So, and when you look at that, our team is pretty much good. I like the way that we're going into this offseason. I think we'll pick up a couple more free agents once we trade Jalen Ramsey. And I think we're solid. I think we have a chance to do something. It's up to Tua to just stay healthy. But let me know what you think. This is a long video. My bad. I was just blabbering about the draft. Love you all. Fins up, baby. Peace.